Solve for minus 90 degrees less than x less than 90 degrees, giving answers to one decimal place. A, tan 3x plus 20 degrees equals 3 over 2, and B, 2 sine squared x plus cos squared x equals 10 over 9. So A part. So we've got tan, open bracket, 3x plus 20 degrees equals 3 over 2. Divide both sides by tan, so we get 3x plus 20 degrees equals 1 over tan, open bracket, 3 over 2. And in indices, 1 over tan is tan to the power minus 1, and that'll be 3 over 2, and that's 3x plus 20 degrees. So now we need to find the inverse of 1 over tan. Again, we're working in degrees. Make sure your calculator is in degrees. So to do the tan, so you go to shift tan, that'll give you inverse tan. Do the fraction key, which is below the option key, and then 3, arrow down key, 2, arrow to the right, close bracket, and 3x plus 20 degrees equals 56.3 degrees. Take away 20 degrees from both sides, 3x will be equal to 36.3 degrees. So we have to find the angles for 36.3 degrees from the range of minus 90 degrees less than x less than 90 degrees. We could use cast diagram to do that. So here's a cast diagram. With a cast diagram, cast, that's for cos, A for all, S for sine, and T for tan. Now, all is positive here. That's all. That's what I meant. Sine is positive, tan is positive, and cos is positive. So whenever we're doing a cast diagram now, you can know that's the first quadrant, this is the fourth, and that's the third, and that's the second quadrant. And we have 36.3 degrees, and this is for tan, so that's 36.3 degrees here, which is positive. 3 over 2 is positive for tan, and it will also be positive here, because you can see all is positive in the first quadrant, so including tan, and tan is positive here. Because we measure from 0 degrees to 90 degrees and 180 degrees, and this is 270 degrees, and then back to 360 degrees. What we can do is, we've got x here. If we times it by 3, so that'll be 3x. That should be less than. We've got x here. If we times it by 3, so that'll be 3x. If we times 90 by 3, that'll be less than 270 degrees, and that'll be less than minus 270 degrees. Which means for 3x, we've got 36.3 degrees. And so that's that one here. Now we need to go all the way and add, here will be another one, because this is 36.3 degrees. Vertically opposite angles are equal. So these are vertically opposite angles, so they're equal. But then we're adding 180 plus 36.3 degrees to 16.3 degrees. As you can see, that is less than 270. So that's good. Then going back in the negative direction, because we are going from 270 to minus 270. So going back in the negative direction, that will be minus 90 to 180. So this is minus 90 degrees, and that's minus 180 degrees. and that would be minus 270 degrees. So we need to go all the way to there. But what we need, we don't need that. What we need is, we need to go from there all the way to there. So that's what we need. 180 minus 36.3. So this angle here will be minus 143.7 degrees. So those are the values we need. The values are 36.3 degrees and 216.3 degrees minus 143.7 degrees. Now if we divide all by 3, because now we need to divide it by 3, so we have to divide that by 3, divide that by 3, and that by 3, and that by 3. So now we get x will be equal to minus 47.9 degrees, and then we get 12.1 degrees and 72.1 degrees. And that is the answer for the value of x. So that's what we're looking for. Question 2. Solve for minus 90 degrees less than x less than 90 degrees to one decimal place. B, 2 sine squared x plus cos squared x equals 10 over 9. So we've got 2 sine squared x plus cos squared x equals 10 over 9. But we've got the fundamental identity, which is cos squared x plus sine squared x equals 1. So I could really use any of these to substitute for this. So it doesn't matter which one we choose. I'm just going to replace cos squared x. But it doesn't matter, you could replace sine squared x. So let's replace cos squared x. That means I need to make cos squared x the subject. So cos squared x equals 1 minus sine squared x. So now let me replace that. So I've got 2 sine squared x plus 1 minus sine squared x equals 10 over 9. Right, so I've got 2 sine squared x and minus 1 sine squared x. So that would be just sine squared x plus 1 equals 10 over 9. So what I can do is to say sine squared x equals 10 over 9 minus 1 over 1. Which means I need to make the denominator same. So that would be 10 over 9 minus 9 over 9 equals sine squared x. Which implies that sine squared x equals, well, that would be 10 minus 9 would be 1 over 9. Square root both sides. So I get sine x equals plus or minus root of 1 over 9. And that equals plus or minus 1/3 for sine of x. Therefore, x, dividing both sides by sine, you get sine to the power minus 1, 1/3 for the positive version, and you get x equals to sine to the power minus 1 minus 1 over 3 for the negative version. Make sure your calculator is in degrees, and to check if it's in degrees, look at the top screen. You will see D, that means it's in degrees, and then you can use it. If it's not in degrees, go to Shift, menu key, then 2 for angle units, and then 2 for radians if you want to do radians. But we're not doing radians, we're doing degrees, so that'll be 1 for degrees. And then check your top screen, it should show D, which implies it's in degrees. Now to find the value of x, you do Shift key, sine, that will give you inverse sine, and then you press the fraction key, which is below the option button key, and 1 arrow key down, 3, arrow key to the right to close the bracket, and that will give you 19 point. So x equals 19.5 degrees, and the other one, which is minus 1/3, will give you minus 19.5 degrees. Okay, using cast diagram to quickly see what you've got. The first one is 19.5 degrees, so 19 will roughly be around there. So this is sine x here, the y-axis is the sine x, so that's 19.5 degrees. But that's the only one you can get in the quadrant between 0 and 90 degrees. But between the 0 and minus 90 degree, you get minus 19 degrees here, which is that y again. That's y for the negative. So those are the only two values. So this is minus 90 degrees, and those are the only two values you get. So therefore, the answer to these solutions are x equals minus 19.5 degrees and 19.5 degrees for the boundary between minus 90 degrees and plus 90 degrees. Just to say, when you're square rooting 1/9, it's basically obviously plus or minus, because when you do a square root, you always do plus or minus. You have root of 1 over root of 9. That's what that meant. Root of 1 equals 1, and root of 9 is 3. So that's why it's plus or minus 3.